The way I approach bulking is more of a long-term goal for me because I don't really like to get too high body fat. A lot of people take it a little too far, in my opinion, and I feel like most people should try focus on staying at a body fat range that isn't too high and you're not going to get fat at. So for me, how I do it is I set myself a weight goal and I usually give myself a few months to get there, and the weight difference week by week is always just half a kilo. I don't think doing more than that is going to benefit you because you're going to be getting the extra strength gains, you're going to be recovering quicker, you're going to be getting all the benefits you would from bulking if you were to just do half a kilo a week. So for me, I don't see any benefits in pushing that further and going to like 1 kilo or even higher than that. Going above half a kilo, you're going to be putting on too much fat, and you don't want to start a bulk and end up having to stop in like a month because you're already at your body fat's already too high. So I'd suggest try look at it as a longer term goal. You don't need to get as a high weight as possible at in a quick time, because if you do, most of that is just not going to be muscle and you're just wasting your time, because then you're going to have to cut all that back to see the extra muscle, and it's not going to be as much as you think. And at the same time, you could be losing some of the muscle you already had or the muscle that you actually got from the bulk once you start cutting back down again. So you should look at both bulking and cutting as a long-term thing, not like a quick couple week, it's not going to change that much. You need to look at it like 2-3 months minimum, I'd say. If you're doing a cut and you're going, straight into it and you're doing it for a month and you expect to go from like 20% body fat to being absolutely shredded, it's just not going to happen the way you think it is. With me, I usually stay pretty lean year round, and some people even question if I, actually bulk. And those people probably don't see the like the videos that are posted almost daily, so they see me every now and then and think this guy's pretty lean, and he was lean a few months ago, but he says he's bulking. That's because I try to stay at a healthy body fat year round, whether I'm bulking or just main gaining. And that's what I like to do. I like to bulk to a weight, and then once I get a bit too high for my liking, my body fat, I'll just stop. I'll go back to maintenance for a few months and I'll stay there. And the reason why I do that is because I want to be at a healthy body fat, but also just going above like 20% is just not necessary. You're not going to be, putting on too much extra mass by doing that. 15 to 20% is the perfect range. You don't need to go higher than that. So what I do is once I've reached my goal, however long it takes me, I will just go to maintenance for a bit and stay there. A lot of people will, when they finish their bulk, they'll, I don't know, stay there for a couple weeks once they're at their goal, and then they'll immediately cut down. And for me, that's always just been not the right way to do it, in my opinion. If you want the most amount of gains, like if you just want to bulk, put on muscle, cut down and look good for a summer, then fine. But if you want to bulk, put on mass, keep the mass and keep improving, you should not be cutting, immediately after a bulk. You got to stay there at the higher weight, at the higher body fat, get the benefit from that, and that will allow you to continue getting stronger, put on mass, and improve your physique. With the diet, it's very easy for a lot of people to bulk and just have heaps of junk food and stuff, but that's just going to leave you bloated, both in your face. You're going to be looking higher body fat than you actually are by doing that. I know from experience, because I used to do that a little bit a couple years ago. But if you're eating mostly whole foods, you're not going to be as bloated as much. You're not going to, have a puffier face than you normally would. So I'd suggest try to keep things as healthy as you can get it. But at the same time, if you're really having trouble, then, some extra processed food isn't really going to hurt you too much. But for, like the last year and a half, I'd say for me has been pretty clean eating, because usually when I also have more unhealthy stuff, I definitely feel in the gym, my workouts, I'm just feeling sick more often, especially on legs. And usually once I start eating better, that stops a little bit. So you got to take into account how you actually feel while you work out, but you're mainly going to be wanting to have low volume, high calorie food that is just not going to take up as much space in your stomach and allow you to eat more than you normally would be able to, because your stomach is just not as full as it could be. So an example of that would be like nuts, for example. It's got a lot of healthy fats, not that much protein, but nuts are really easy to get a lot of calories in with. Peanut butter, obviously not the healthiest, but if you have a natural peanut butter, then that's fine. I'd suggest using that. I use a lot of that. For a lot of skinny people, they're usually not big eaters, and they always have trouble with getting enough calories, and they're blaming, everything else other than the fact that they just can't stomach a lot of food. And I've had some trouble with this myself, and the most important thing that helped me get over that was just having protein shakes. And I don't mean using actual protein powder, because bulking is literally you're getting more calories, more macros than what you actually need. So by using protein powder, it's just overkill in my opinion on a bulk. So when I mean protein shakes, I just mean a lot of calories in a shake, not necessarily protein powder plus other stuff. So stuff like peanut butter in a protein shake with, other stuff, banana, nuts, whatever, oats. That's just gonna help you a lot with not having to stomach as much food throughout the day, because with me, I'm having a protein shake right now at night, 1,000 calories at night, at around, anywhere from 8 to 10 p.m. after I've had all my, solid food meals throughout the day. So once I get to the protein shake, I've had, right now I'm aiming for like 3,700 calories. So I would have had 2,700 before I had the protein shake. So I still have 1,000 to go by the time I have the protein shake, and I make it. I have the 1,000 calories, and that's my goal hit. So throughout the day, I'm not bloated, because I'm not even close to my goal. I'm not bloated. I'm not feeling too full. Some meals are harder than others to get down, but usually throughout the day, I'm getting through it pretty easy. So by having that 1,000 calories that I can have at a later time, it makes it a lot easier to digest everything, to have enough food, to actually hit the goal of a 500 calorie surplus without skipping meals, without not getting to the goal. So the easiest way, in my opinion, to just get over that hump of not being able to stomach enough food is liquid calories, protein shakes, however many calories you need, whether it's 500, 1,000. I wouldn't go much more higher than 1,000. Digesting that much calories isn't the best thing for it to be all liquid, and it can mess up some bowel movements and stuff. So I'd say 1,000 calories. You wouldn't want to go much higher than that, but it makes it a lot easier, because I can drink my 1,000 calorie shake in 30 seconds, like if I was to scull it. So it's really not that hard to stomach 1,000 liquid calories. Like even if I'm semi-full before I have it, I can still get it down pretty easy. And if that was to be food, it would take me a lot longer, obviously, but it would also be harder, because if I'm semi-full, I'm not going to be able to have 1,000 calories anywhere near as easily as if it was liquid. Bulking, main gaining, and then bulking again is just pretty much all I've done since I started training, excluding the competitions I did. So if you want to put on as much mass as possible through bulking and, going in a calorie surplus, once you've finished your bulk and you've completed your goal, staying at that higher range of body fat for a little bit and continuing to be in a mass building phase, because a bulk cut cycle is just too quick. It's too short-term minded for people who want to put on as much mass as possible. To help bulking, the best thing I can suggest is liquid calories in a protein shake, and that's going to help you a lot if it's hard for you to get in those extra calories, throughout the day. That's my advice for bulking.